Are the Leafs really in early season injury trouble? Is Ilya Samsonov's confidence completely shattered? And is William Nylander possibly playing himself out of Toronto? All of that and more in this video. Welcome back to Leafs Digest. My name is Darius Dominguez, and let's not sugarcoat it. Let's get right into it. Tonight, a tough loss in Nashville. There's really no way to sugarcoat it. Like I said, Ilya Samsonov, he gets the start tonight. The Leafs are putting the confidence back, or trying to put the confidence back in him. Sheldon Keefe is like, you know what, we're going to go back to him. Woll has gotten us a few wins. We got to go back to Sammy. We got to get him back to feeling good, right? But before the game, in the second period, they're showing Samsonov before the game. He's looking a little shaky. He's looking a little nervous. I don't know. It gets into your head when you're not playing well as a goalie. And I think that is a little concerning to see Samsonov that shaky, but I don't think it's completely out of the ordinary. He's just getting the nerves out, and it was nice to see him get the start because I don't think we should completely write him off, even though Joseph Woll is playing amazing for the Leafs so far. But, with that being said, a tough loss. There's a couple goals where he could have had them. I mean, the Ryan O'Reilly goal, of course, Ryan O'Reilly with 2 goals against the Leafs, of course. What a Leafs thing for that to happen, huh? But, Ryan O'Reilly gets those 2 goals. The first one, I thought probably he could have had it if he had a stick down. Yet again, Ryan O'Reilly was left alone in front. The defense has probably got to do a little bit of a better job clearing that up. Some of the Leafs making some big mistakes, some big turnovers. I did not like Austin Matthews in overtime at all. The Leafs touched the puck one time. It was Austin Matthews, and it was a dumb play on the boards where he could have reversed the play back to the defenseman, and he gave it up, and they ended up scoring. In overtime, I believe it was Roman Josi with the overtime winner. But, didn't like that at all. So a couple dumb mistakes here and there, but I think they can clean some of that up, and we will get to that later in the video. But just to look through everything, from the game tonight, there were some positives. If you take a look at this, Nylander is hot, guys. He is playing fantastic. He gets another goal here. It was on the power play, and it was really, really nice to see Mark Giordano get on the board as well with a nice celly there, and it was nice to just see him tap that in. It was a nice little play there. So, nice to see him kind of chipping in on the offense because he's not really known for that. He is eating pucks this year. He is taking a beating. I love to see it. He has not really missed a step. So thank you, Mark Giordano. Hasn't really lost a step at his age, and he's playing big minutes for the Leafs. But, like I mentioned earlier, William Nylander, we mentioned it in a couple videos ago. He is setting records, and he is playing at an amazing pace. William Nylander ties a Maple Leafs record with points in each of the team's first 8 games of the season. He scored in almost every game so far, and not only that, he's just recorded a point in every single game. Just fantastic. He is playing out of his mind. He is playing like a guy who is going to play himself off this team because they will not be able to afford a player of his caliber. Mitch Marner right now, in my opinion, is not playing up to the standard of an $11 million player, and Nylander is going to want $10 million. It's going to start at 10. Let's not kid ourselves, right? It's going to start at $10 million, and he's playing like he deserves it, and I don't know if there's room for him on this team going forward. How are they going to afford 4 guys making north of $10 million? I just don't see how the math adds up, but he's playing out of his mind, and for my money, second best player on the Leafs currently. He's playing amazing. What is there to say about William Nylander this year? He is shutting everyone up. He is playing for that contract, and you know what? In my opinion, so far, he deserves it. But we have to pivot a little bit from William Nylander and the forwards. We have to talk about the Leafs' injury woes so far this season. The early season bug has gotten them once again. Early last year, they were down to playing some of their bottom pairing guys in the Marlies. They were playing Mac Hollowell, and guys like that, they needed a lot out of them, and they were calling them up. So not good to see that happening again so early this season. Like we saw in the last game, we had Jake McCabe go down with an injury. Now they did an MRI, I believe today. Keefe said that they found that it wasn't as bad as originally expected, so he's not going to miss that much time. He might not miss much time at all. He could be back in their next game against the LA Kings on Tuesday, which would be great to see because Jake McCabe brings a lot of physicality, and he's just a really good defenseman for this team. So it would be really nice to see that. But again, tonight, another injury, not something you want to see. Timothy Liljegren doubtful to return. Of course, this was tweeted out during the game, but doubtful to return to tonight's game due to injury. And I thought this was interesting. Lower body. They showed the hit where they believe he got injured. And it was definitely, it didn't look like it was a lower body hit. It looked like it was probably upper body, but like they said here, lower body. And you hate to see that. They sent out that tweet, midway through the third period, which I thought was weird, questionable to return. I would just leave him out if he's really that hurt. But yeah, no Timothy Liljegren now, looks like for the foreseeable future, which is not great for this team because, again, he is a big part of this team, and they really need him to, step into being a top 4 defenseman this year, and really just being one, like not just being in that position, really playing like one, because they haven't had too many guys come up from the Marlies and stuff like that to really, take over those positions. They need guys to really take those positions, not be put in those positions by default. We absolutely need to see more of that out of the Leafs. Now, with the Leafs injury woes, okay, a lot of people were asking, somebody's got to come up now because now we're out of players. Okay, so here are some options from the Marlies, right? We got Max Lajoie, left-handed shot, which keep in mind, Timothy Liljegren, right-handed shot. No timeline for his return at this point. Right-handed shot, so keep that in mind as well. He plays the right side of the ice. Simone Benoit, who they picked up in free agency this year. We haven't seen much out of him. It was more just preseason. So, if I would like to see him get some time just to see what he has. But, you have a couple other options. I also loved Kokkonen in the preseason. He played great. And Niemela, I would like to see him get some more time on the Marlies just because he is still young and considered, a prospect still at this point. So I wouldn't want to rush him into a spot like this. If they do need a guy like that, sure. But I think Benoit would be more suitable for this position at this time. Legason also was called up for this game against Nashville, to take over for the McCabe injury. He logged 10 minutes of ice time with 1 shot on goal, which is not bad. Can't really expect him to come in and, completely take over the game and be a superstar defenseman. But enough about the injuries. I do have something I would like to discuss and something that's been bothering me for the first 8 games because it happened last year, their terrible start in October. And I'm seeing a little bit creep into this year, even though they're playing a lot better and they got a point tonight. And, their record's a lot better at this point this year than last season. But for Sheldon Keefe, you have to put out the fires now. You have to nip the bad habits in the butt. You got to do it. Tonight, I did not see a lot of things I like. They looked tired. They looked like they were on the back end of a road trip, which they were. But you have to come out and play. You had days in between games. Keefe needs to get these guys under control, all right? There are way too many lousy penalties going on. They took far too many penalties against a Nashville team that honestly, truthfully, had no business being in this game with the Leafs. The Leafs outclassed them. And if, Nashville didn't get those 2 power play goals, it could have been a different game, honestly. Too many men penalties is terrible. That is lazy, totally avoidable. Like if you take a tripping penalty, it's part of the game. Delay a game over the glass is part of the game. But too many men penalties is lazy. It's not good bench management either. By the players, it doesn't really necessarily fall on Keefe, but Keefe has to get these guys in order. That is super lazy, in my opinion. And honestly, too many sloppy mistakes. Like that Matthews play in overtime, like I mentioned earlier in the video, that is a brain dead play, honestly. Like you need to get that puck up the ice. So I would like to see a little bit more out of the guys, mentally. I think coming home is going to help them a lot. It will. And that was their, that was their longest road trip of the year. Get it out of the way early, right? So, hopefully, some of the woes, defensive woes get out of the way here. They kind of get them out of the way here early in the season and get ready, for a playoff push and into the latter half of the season. But yes, it is the end of a road trip, but I hate seeing sloppy and useless mistakes like that, as well as dumb penalties. I think the penalties is what did them in tonight. It was truly avoidable. So you got to nip that in the butt, Keefe. You got to get these guys under control, locked in mentally, and ready for the rest of the year. Because I don't like some of the things I'm seeing from the team so far, although they've had a better start than last year. I have to reiterate that. So the last thing I will mention in this video is Jumbo Joe, former Maple Leaf. Joe Thornton did retire officially from the NHL today, so we wish Joe the best in retirement. He was a very good Maple Leaf, I thought, in the short time he spent here, and obviously a fantastic career. just short of that Stanley Cup, but he did get there with the San Jose Sharks, a finals appearance there. But great career nonetheless. Team Canada, all the the accolades, fantastic career. So congrats to Jumbo Joe. But yeah, going back to the Leafs. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Leafs season so far. If you think Samsonov can really hold the fort, if he can kind of build his confidence back. Tell me what you think about Nylander's hot start and anything else you would like to comment. So click anywhere on the screen here to check out some of our other content, and we will see you in the next video. This has been Leafs Digest. I am Darius Dominguez, and we will see you next time.